Hello everybody and welcome back to the new VR news. As always, I am Mateo311 and this is your one channel for everything VR related. Today's episode is special because I just got back from Pax East and there was a really large VR presence there. But just like any other episode of the new VR news, I will be telling you about the latest games, the software updates, and the newest VR hardware. If you guys do end up enjoying this, don't forget to give it a thumbs up, leave some comments, and maybe consider subscribing. And as always, anything I discuss will have links and additional information in the video description. Okay guys, let's get into this. Well, first up, we have new gameplay trailers for Half-Life Alyx. Now the game looks completely stunning. Now if you weren't impressed already, this should put you over the top, and if you're not impressed now, well, you're never going to be. Everything from the physics to the combat is looking amazing. So in these three new gameplay trailers, we actually get to see two of the movement mechanics, we get to see how in-depth the physics are, and just overall get completely pumped for this game. We're only 3 weeks away for Half-Life Alyx, guys, but it can't come soon enough. Next up, we're going to dive into all the VR games that were present at Pax East. There were roughly 30 open play VR stations with everything from Rift, Rift S, and Valve indexes available for people to try. There were hour-long lines that were almost constantly filled up, so just based on some rough calculations, it looks like about 100 people per hour were getting to experience a decent amount of VR gameplay. Depending on what line you're on and what you were going to play, sessions were usually about 20 minutes long. There was also a really nice variety of games, everything from what you'd expect like Beat Saber, but there was 4-player games like Star Trek Bridge Crew, and even Vox Machina for a 10-person death match. So it looks like they actually know how to really organize a nice VR event. And I was lucky enough to spend an hour interviewing people as they were exiting the VR lines. After a few minutes of doing this, the amazing employees at PAX actually asked me if I wanted to come inside the booth, sit inside, make it a little bit more formal, and just, catch people on their way out, which I took full advantage of. So all the people I spoke to that were either on their way in, trying VR for the first time, or those who just played VR for the first time, or just wanted to jump into VR while they were at PAX, the response was always positive. The majority of people walked away, said, wow, I want one of those for my house. And then I explained to them that the cost of entry is much lower now with things like the Oculus Quest. And overall, it seems like everyone is seeing VR in a very positive light now. Now, there were also a bunch of games on display. The number one game I do want to mention is Sniper Elite VR. I got a 30-minute hands-on demo. Now, I'm not going to go into much detail with that here. I am doing a separate video on that content. I do have a good 15 minutes of footage I can show you guys, but I will say I enjoyed this experience and every other one that I saw at PAX. Shell Games was there showing off Until You Fall, which people seem to love. There was Smush TV, which was surprising that it actually brought in a full crowd and people were cheering the game on because it is a competitive game. It is an asymmetrical two-person game and one person's trying to crush the other person in a Tetris style dropping of blocks, and the other person is navigating those blocks inside VR. So it's really cool. So when someone made, just barely survived, you'd see a couple people cheer, which I thought was amazing. There was a very similar reaction to Takelings, a game that I love. Takelings was present. They were showing off the game. So there would be people playing. It's another asymmetrical game. You play as little characters. And once people were playing as the little characters, they immediately said, I want to experience that in VR because I want to see it from the other perspective. And then, when they got out of VR, they're like, oh, that's amazing. Takelings is a great party game. I recommend it to everyone. And I did speak to the team that was present for quite a while. They are making new levels, which I cannot wait for. There was also a pretty big line for Creed Rise to Glory. People seem to be really getting into that game. The only VR experience that I came across that didn't blow me away was Orion 13. This is a game that already launched and I didn't even hear about it. Now it does have cutscenes, it does have a story. I couldn't really get into it too much present at PAX because it's so loud and there's a lot going on. I did get a hands-on demo, which was nice. Someone did sit down with me and go through a lot of the mechanics and stuff with me because they saw my content creator badge. I did really appreciate that. The thing holding the game back right now, I think, is the mechanics, because they want it to just super hack and slashy, and you just swing your controller like a madman, but I just found aspects of it just not overly appealing. I would need to play a lot more of the game before I can really say it's a pass, or maybe I was wrong, but my first impression is it's not looking that great. So the reaction I saw from people at PAX moves right into our next topic, and that is 2020 being the year for VR. It's funny to see how the media is finally starting to shift a little bit, and IGN actually did a video on this topic. They were discussing, has VR reached the tipping point? Is it about to become mainstream? Obviously, that's a hot topic right before Half-Life Alyx releases, because it looks like this is going to be the first true AAA title, and it is definitely driving headset sales. Unfortunately, due to the global pandemic, headsets are really hard to come by right now. But not just only the fact that IGN is discussing this topic, there are some other stats that are really pushing this. If you look back at the December period, the Oculus Quest sold just as well as consoles like the Xbox. There's now 100 VR games that have reached over $1 million in sales. And we have one more future item that I'll discuss at the end of this video that is most likely going to push things over the edge. But let's move into the software updates. The SteamVR graphical updates that I spoke about a few weeks prior are moving into the standard non-beta version of SteamVR. It's a nice GUI refresh, one that was really needed. And Facebook has once again purchased another VR game studio. This is Sanzaru, the company behind Asgard's Wrath. So rather than just help fund some new games, it looks like they're just gonna keep buying up studios and have them made exactly the way they want. I just hope this doesn't turn into a EA microtransaction disaster. Okay guys, the last topic is a VR hardware topic. We have the reference design for headsets that will use Qualcomm's new XR2 chipset. Now, I have discussed the Qualcomm XR2 previously in some videos. Just know that this is basically going to be the hardware used for the Quest 2.0 or any Quest competitors. It will bring with it a significant boost in graphical performance, everything up to 4K resolution displays, and additional cameras and improved bandwidth for improved inside-out tracking. Now, it was originally estimated that we would see these headsets start releasing in mid-2020. Again though, this is most likely going to be affected by the global pandemic, but if it does happen with this, if these headsets do release in 2020, this will be the hardware item that is most likely the VR tipping point. Right now, the Oculus Quest is a completely acceptable VR experience, and it makes VR viable for millions of people. It is, however, a lower end experience, so if you could bump that up a few notches, we will have a true winner on our hands. Everybody, I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, go ahead, give it a thumbs up. Don't forget to subscribe and ding that bell, and I will see you guys on next time.